So we're talking about the great Nigerian novel. You understand? And the great
Mm,
Nigerian novel, in the sense that what is that one book that encompasses what it means to be a Nigerian? It doesn't matter any time. It could be in pre-colonial times. It could be after the colonial masters have gone. It could be modern day literature. It could be from any age or decade since independence as a Nigerian. You understand? So we're going to go
yeah,
from 10. I have my list here from number 10 to number 1. Then I have five honorable mentions that almost made the list but didn't make the list. You understand? So we would go this way. I will tell you my number 10, you tell me your number 10, then I'll take my 9, you say
exactly.
your
Yeah.
9, and then we'll get to number 1. So my number 10, the 10th book on my list is, I don't know if you've read of this book. If you've heard of this book, sorry, but I think I've heard you talk about it before, but I don't know if you've read it. The Secret Lives, the secret, sorry, the Secret Lives of Baba Segi's Wives.
Wives. I've
Yes,
not read it,
wives.
but I've heard about the book.
Okay, it's funny enough. I haven't read it completely. I said it when I think that was in final year, but I haven't completed it. I don't know why. You know how life goes. But I know it's a very
Yeah.
good book. The parts I've read, I know that it's going to be a very good book. Chimobi um read it and he told me he liked it. It was a very nice one. It's by Lola
Yeah.
Shuneyin. I don't know. I hope I'm not butchering this name. And it's about, of course, from the title you can get what it is about now. It's a polygamous family, Baba Segi,
Yeah.
and it's about he has 7 wives or so, and the lives. The book explores
The
their
secret
lives, the
lives.
secret lives. You understand the complexity of modern Nigerian life, and I heard it's very funny. It's very funny. It's full of scandals and all of. You know how anything that has to do with
Yeah.
women living together. I know you. Anytime I think about this book,
Yes.
what I think about is Desperate Housewives. You know how much I love Desperate Housewives. You understand?
Yeah. Yeah. You
Uh-huh.
talked about it.
I
Yeah.
love. I love. I. That is why I think shows like Housewives of Lagos, Housewives of Atlanta, all those reality TV shows. That's why they're very interesting, because I feel like anytime you place women together in a setting, Gilson, there's
Yeah.
it's going to be drama. I'm sorry, it is what it is. There's going to be drama. Once you just put 5, 6, 7 women together, just lock them in a room. Of course, there's girl power, women standing up for each other, and all of those things. But generally,
Women
it's going to
supporting
result,
women.
exactly. It's going to result into drama, and that drama is always going to be and that is why Chimamanda's book Dream Count is quite good. You understand? Because of
Yeah.
those 4 women, when you consider Zikora and Omelogo,
Omelogo.
the way they interact with each other, it's very funny. You understand the way they throw shade at each other, snide remarks
Mm,
occasionally. You understand? That's what makes female friendships very interesting. So that is why I picked Secret Wives of Babasige's wives as my top number 10 on in my list of great Nigerian novels. So what's your number 10?
okay, I would want you to guess. This book was published in 1964.
Okay, 1964,
Yes.
64.
And
Okay,
yes.
okay.
And it's been translated to God knows how many languages. I don't know the exact number of
The author
languages
is
it
the
has
author
been
male or female?
translated
Is the
to.
author male or
And
female?
male. And in 2022, it was included in the Big Jubilee Read list of 70 books by Commonwealth authors.
Hmm. hmm. What's the storyline about? What are the themes the book explores?
Don't worry, if I tell you about the story, like you know the author.
Okay, what's the book?
So the book is Arrow of God by
Okay,
Chinua
Chinua
Achebe.
Achebe. Okay, okay, okay.
Yes. And I haven't I wouldn't say I read the book, I but I know it was like at the time it was one of the best books, because I know my dad had in fact we have the novel at home here, and then my dad had talked about it. In
Hmm.
It's kind of like the summary of the novel. It's about like a chief priest, how colonialism entered, and people stopped worshipping their deities and get
Mm,
towards the missionaries and all whatnot. And at some point, their traditional religion lost its value, something like that.
mm,
Like I said, I've not read it, but then
yeah,
this is like the summary of the whole thing.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
I know about the book, and I feel the book is Arrow of God. Chinua
Why do
Achebe.
you
That is like the father of
why do you
one of the
think
fathers of
why
Nigerian literature.
why do you think this book is a candidate as in a list of great Nigerian novels? Why do you think this book should be considered?
Because it is why I think it should be included, or why I included it in my list of, is because I feel, number one, at the time when this book was published, there were not like enough a plethora of writers then, and
Okay,
this book was one of the best books. Aside, yes, yes,
okay,
at the time, not
yeah,
like based on yes, at the
yeah.
time it was, and then the author is very revered in Nigeria and across the
Mm,
world. So
mm.
yeah, why
Okay.
wouldn't it be? It
Yeah,
is.
actually, I've heard very good things about Hour of God, so it's not even shocking that they made your list. You understand? That's a very if Hour of God is your number 10, I wonder what your top five would look like because Hour of God should be higher, I feel.
No, you
But
don't. You wouldn't want to know. You wouldn't want to know.
we'll get there. Okay. The book on
Uh,
number nine in my list of books that I consider to be the great Nigerian novel. My Sister the Serial Killer by Onyeka. I don't know how to pronounce her surname. I don't know if it's Nigerian or this is Britain. I don't know if it's English. I don't know. But it's her name is Onyeka. You understand? I haven't read this book. It came out in 2017 or so. I think it was 17 year. I've had it in my to be read list in years. In years. But you know how life
yeah.
goes. You understand? But I've heard so many great things about this book. First of all, I think it was shortlisted for Man Booker Prize. I think it's Man Booker. I can't remember the particular award. Either Man Booker or Women's Prize for Fiction. You understand? One of them. You understand? And
Okay.
the book also won a lot of awards for the writer. But that's not why I put on my list. I put on my list because of the impact of this book. You understand?
Okay.
Generally, apart from Nigeria, because basically I'm on book talk on TikTok. There's a place called book
Mm,
talk because people talk about books there. I've seen people like even outside Nigeria say very crazy things about this book. You understand? I thought it was only
okay.
Nigerians that enjoyed it because we related to it more. But no, even people in foreign countries, Brazilians, people in Europe, like they say they love the book much, very much. Its impact, the storyline, the structure, and I heard it's very funny. You understand? It tackles a very serious issue. I think somebody died. I can't remember the storyline, but I think somebody was killed. But the way the author tackled the story, it was a very funny um um angle the author came from, and she nailed it. She did a very good job. So I'm putting this book at number 9 on my list based on its impact, based on its the beauty of its writing. And people say the writing is very sharp and beautiful. You understand?
Yeah.
And based on its general popularity in the literary space in the last 10, 20 years. So that's my number 9. The number nine book, the ninth book in my list of greatest Nigerian books of all time. So what's your number 9?
Of all time. Okay, mine is The Season of Anomy. Season
Hmm.
of Anomy
Is
by
it
Wole
Soyinka?
Soyinka.
Oh, okay,
Yes.
okay,
This
okay,
book was published in 1973.
okay.
And it was so I when I was reading the review about the book, they said that the book was a novel that was intensely religious,
Hmm.
and like they said he had moral, like he was preoccupied with moral issues, and that the book was good. It was just about revolution, because this guy, based on the Ayeru, that's the community,
Yeah.
that was always based on African values, cooperation, fairness, respect, Then he now wanted when he was working in the city, it wasn't like that.
Yeah.
That place was kind of like corrupted, exploitation, moral decadence, and all that. So
Yeah.
the guy just wanted to make everything work the way it
Okay.
worked in a typical African country, I mean
Certain.
African setting,
Mm.
which which was not which was almost impossible. So he faced backlash, and
Mm.
I think it's kind of reflecting even in today modern day Africa. So I feel the book is still relevant in modern day Africa. That's why I picked it
As your
as
number
my
9.
number 9. Yes,
Okay.
and then for crying out loud, it was Wole Soyinka's second novel, and we know the first Nobel laureate in Nigeria. Who is that? So I think, yeah, it's
I
it's
think I'm
what
going to add
it's
this book to my to be read list because the what anomaly again
the season of
of
anomaly.
anomaly. Okay, I think I'm going to add
No,
it.
season of anomy.
Anomy.
So,
Okay.
but I googled the meaning of anomy. So I think it's the same thing with anomaly. Probably maybe it's the short form of
Where
anomy.
is where
Sometimes
is
you have to
where is Wole
sound.
Soyinka now? Where's Wole Soyinka now, self? Where is he? He just went in
Um,
war.
I don't know.
What's
I
he
just
doing?
know that he has his takes on politics, and but
Oh,
I don't know.
I remember 2 or 3 years ago, or is it 4 or 5 years? I can't remember. He had like a mini squabble with Chimamanda. Do you remember that? I don't know if you remember the incident.
No, 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 I don't.
Chimamanda published an essay, and he published like something like a counter essay. But of course, it didn't lead to one this kind of weird beef where they saw each other. No, 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 no. It's almost like he didn't agree
Mm.
with her point, and he wrote his own essay to counter her points. Something like that. You understand? I can't remember how that thing
Oh,
went. I have to Google and find out how the scenario happened. You understand? But I remember, out of respect, remember that was like, no, she's not arguing with him. It's almost like we are both intellectuals, and of course, we're not going to agree on every topic. You understand? So I think she just backed out, and I can't remember how that in it, but I just remember something like that happening.
okay,
Number 8 on my list of greatest Nigerian novels of all time is drum roll, please.
okay, okay.
Okay, this book is I don't know why this sounds very sad to say because I haven't read my number 10 and number 9, and I haven't also read my number 8, but I'm basing this list based on um what the public perception of these books and
Acclaim.
the exactly acclaim and the what I know these books have, the importance these books have. But I've read another book by this author, and of course I introduced the particular this particular book to you. You understand? So reading that book is a such short story collection by this author. I am so sure that her novel too will be a good one. You understand? And it's by
Yeah.
Chinelo Baranta, and it's titled
Oh,
Under the Udala Tree.
Udala tree. I know
Yes.
it. Yeah.
And I've read Happiness Like Water. I've read Happiness Like Water like 3 times.
Ah,
I love that short story
happiness like
collection.
water. I have a story there that reflects my. Okay, I wouldn't say typically my life, but then like something like that. Mm.
What story is that?
It was happiness like water. Now that girl that was always going for interview.
Okay, okay, okay. My favorite story in that short story collection, which is probably in my top 20 favorite short stories ever, Grace. Oh my god, I love that story. I love that story. Jesus. That's how you write a short story. I love that story. I have tried to replicate that story many times, but of course, I'm not the parental, so I stay in my lane. You understand? But back to Under the Udala Tree. I put this book at number 8 because of the fact that in my opinion, I feel this is one of the most important um, books that tackles identity in Nigeria. You understand? In fact, I didn't know that an author could write about LGBT issues in Nigeria. It was
Mm.
it's quite rare. Let's be frank with ourselves. The only person that had done it and got away with it is I maybe other people have, but I know the most prominent person I know is Chimamanda, when she wrote about some quest characters in her short story collection, the thing around your neck. You understand? But for Chinelo to come out with a full book about two girls in love, of course I haven't read the book, but till today I respect the fact that she was able to go against the grain and do this. You understand? And
Yeah.
from what I have gathered from people who have read the book, it's a very good. Of course, it's Chinelo. Her writing is always on point. You understand?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it tackles identity, religion, forbidden love, and all of this happened during the Biafran War. You understand? I've read chapters, of course. I've glanced through chapters because I couldn't read the whole book, but I wanted to just read to see what the book, what the essence of the book. And I've seen some very beautiful storylines. I've seen some very nice writing, some nice paragraphs that make you think about life in a different way. So, considering all of this, the impact, the acclaim. I think she won a major award for this book. I can't remember the award now. I have to do my research and find out. She won a major award for this book, and also it was. I think it's her debut novel. I think so. Yes, for somebody to debut with a book like this, I think you deserve acclaim. You deserve recognition. So that's why I put that number 8 on my list of greatest Nigerian books of all time. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Okay. This lady, my favorite, my number 8 for favorite Nigerian books of all time is a book by this lady I love so much. I'm sorry, may her soul rest in peace. But then I love her so much, and in fact, in fact, I don't know. I love the simplicity of her writing, and I would say when I read this book in secondary school, I would say it was a revelation to me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the book is Second Class Citizen, and it was
Hmm.
by Buche Mecheta.
Emecheta.
It was published
Jesus.
in 1974,
Hmm.
and that story taught me a lot,
Hmm.
and it made me second guess this whole japa. You
Yeah.
know, you would think you want to go to London, and
Yeah.
then you want to see London Bridge. You know, when we're still kids, London Bridge is falling down, falling down. You know those things.
Never
You
for
think,
finish.
man, London is heaven. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
Ada tried her best. You know,
Hmm.
despite societal expectations and family resistance, she got herself educated. You
Hmm.
know, her dreams were aligning. She now met this guy, I think Francis. Yes, that's her husband. Then when she got there, she noticed that it wasn't. I don't want to be a spoiler, but she noticed that, man, it wasn't the same thing. What I had in mind is actually not the same thing I'm experiencing here.
Hmm.
So, and the book explores gender equality, racism at its peak,
Hmm.
and then identity. Like I said, it's this book is kind of like a revolution.
Yeah.
So, and this book, like, it's like celebrated for giving voice to like experiences of African women in diaspora. It's both personal and then
This
political
book,
novel as
that
well.
book is a perfect example of men will stain your white.
Yes, definitely. It is. It is. It is. So, but then, sometimes men will stain your. In
Jesus.
fact, human beings will stain your white because women as well stain men's whites. So, because
But
some
generally, men
women,
are the ones that are known to stain white.
anybody can stain anybody's wife white. So it depends on what exactly the person's
But that's true, Sha. That's true.
lifestyle
It
and
depends, yeah. It depends
So
on who you meet. But actually,
yes,
I was
exactly.
thinking about this a few days ago. I was like, I'm trying to imagine what a conversation between Chimamanda and Buche Mecheta would sound like, Gilson. Oh,
Hey,
Jesus. I would
no.
pay any amount to be in that room to listen to that conversation. I would pay. You understand? Writers conversations. You understand? just them as writers talking about
Exactly.
their writing experiences. Oh, in my opinion, Gilson, of course, Chimamanda has never. I can't remember Chimamanda singling out Buche Mecheta as one of our influences. I've never heard her talk about Buche Mecheta. Maybe I'm wrong, but I've never
No,
heard her.
I've heard once. Yes,
Uh,
I told you, sir. Yes, I've heard.
okay, maybe I missed that. But
Yes, yes,
in my opinion, I feel like Buche Mecheta is Chimamanda's mother. If Chinua Achebe is Chimamanda's father, literary father, I feel
yes,
like Buche Mecheta
yes.
is a literary mother.
I've heard her talk about her, but not like so in much regard like this. But
Chinua Achebe.
I've heard Chimamanda. Yes, I've heard Chimamanda talk about Buche Mecheta.
Uh-huh. But it's quite rare. I don't know
Yes,
why. It's quite rare. I wonder sometimes
I've heard her talk about.
did she read Buche
She
Mecheta's
did.
writing?
She talked about these her joys of motherhood. So
Ah,
yes, I've heard her
I would really
because
love
that
to hear
book. If
Chimamanda
that
speak
book
more.
didn't slap you,
Which book is that?
you know, joys of motherhood. If that book didn't slap you, and so smart. I don't know.
Oh,
I was telling who was I telling the other day? I was telling Dubem that I don't know if I'm weird,
okay.
but I I become happy. Or that's why lately I've learned like I just want to infuse Igbo in anything I'm saying. In as much as for crying out loud, I know that my Igbo is very good. Like
Yeah.
I'm very, very good. And then it doesn't mix with my English. But then sometimes maybe the word is so much like I don't know how to express myself in English, I would
Mm,
say it in Igbo. But I know
yes.
that to a reasonable extent, I won't say I have Igbo tongue, you understand?
Yeah.
Now I would I will now say, Omo, whenever I hear people call America, America, I'm always happy.
Americana. I'm
No,
sorry.
no, no, Americana is not this
I'm
thing.
sorry.
But I have a colleague in the office and
Mm,
she calls America, America, America.
okay. Okay.
And it reminds me of Nnuego,
Oh.
you know, it
Oh.
reminds me of
Oh.
Nnuego. And
Oh.
then I just love it.
Do you know that Nugu is one of my favorite fictional characters ever in a book?
That woman went
She's
through a lot,
competing
sha.
seriously with Ifemelu in Americana. She's competing
Ah,
seriously with her.
we,
I
we,
love. You know, the day she.
she's
Oh my God,
dramatic. I like her.
we're about to enter just a motherhood. Let's stop now.
I like her.
The day she
We'll
beat up
get
that man.
there,
The day
but
she
I
beat
like
up
her. I
that
think
man.
when we get there,
Oh
we'll.
my God. Don't worry. Let's keep talking. So, second class citizen, your number 8, yeah?
Yes, it
Okay.
is.
My number 7, it goes to The Passport of Malam Ilya by Cyprian Ekwensi. And
Oh,
this book,
no Cyprian Fancy.
recently, an animation studio in Nigeria took on the job of translating this story into an animated movie. I don't know if you've seen the trailer.
Oh no.
Oh, I think I'll probably get it and put it in the video edit of this podcast. So they are trying to make it into an animated story movie. And I bet you, if that thing is released in theaters, I will be the first person to go and watch it. I hope they succeed because I feel like we need more Nigerian stories to be translated into movies, not just rubbish movies, like good movies. I don't mean what they did with
Mm,
Half of a Yellow Sun and made it into one of those crappy
no, no,
movies.
no,
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 no, no,
no.
no. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't what I expected. You understand? I want us to take Nigerian
Mm,
stories and there are epic Nigerian stories that can be made into movies. There are many epic. Joyce of Motherhood would bang as a movie. Do you understand? But that's by the way.
yeah.
So the purpose of Malam Ilya is about a guy who is on a quest for revenge. You understand? I think at the beginning of the
Mm,
book, I can't remember. I read this book like 2003, 2004. It's a very long time, and I haven't read it again. So, but I have to. I'm going to try to read it again. I'm going to because it's a very short book, probably 150 pages. And the Malam Ilya, something happened to him at the beginning. Somebody did something to him. I think took his wife or something like that. And the book is about him seeking revenge. So he traveled to different places in search of the person that did that thing to him. I can't remember what the person did to him. I can't remember what it is right now. But he was looking for this person, and by the time he came close to face to face with the person, and it was time for him to revenge, he had learned so much about life that he saw that vengeance was not the answer. Do you understand? He had, if you see what this guy experienced, Gilson, I love adventure stories. I love stories that take me to places. That's why I love Americana by Chimamanda very much. I love stories that take me to different places. I'm on a journey. I travel. I meet people. I experience things with the characters. Passport of Malam Ilya is a perfect example of that. You will travel with this guy. He saw things. He fought. He slept in a shack overnight. He went to places. He had conversations. He met people. By the time the book came to an end, he was no longer the person we knew at the beginning of the book. Do you understand? And also, it's a beautiful exploration of what it feels like to be a Muslim living in northern Nigeria. Do you understand? It's very rare for us to see books
Mm.
by authors based in northern Nigeria. They are quite rare. You understand? But this one did it well, succinctly. He did a very nice job in painting northern Nigeria and showing you what it feels like to come from that place, how they live, and just what the general experience is from there. And for that reason, because of its popularity, the beauty of the prose, the adventure of the story, and all of those things, I have placed the passport of Malam Ilya. And also, CP Eloquency is one of our best writers we've had in Nigeria, a novelist. He did a very good job, you understand? So for that reason, I placed this book on my number 7 on the list of greatest Nigerian novels of all time. So what's your number 7? Yes.
So my number 7 book for my favorite the greatest Nigerian books of all time is probably people in the literary space will kill me, but at this point I really do not care.
Okay.
It's my opinion, and everybody's opinion matters. In
Yes.
as much as I know this book, I I think this book has probably the most global recognition, African novel that has global recognition. But it is my choice, like I said, and
Okay.
I don't want to. I want to be unapologetic about what I like. You know,
Yes. Yes.
I read this book when I was in secondary school. I saw the movie adaptation as well.
Yeah.
You know, but however, like they would say, however, I do not, probably because I don't know, I don't want to sound condescending,
You're
but
scaring
probably
me.
because I don't like our daddy's writing style. I would put it that way.
Okay.
Our literary daddy in Nigeria. You
Don't tell
should
me
know
if
who I'm
it's who I'm
talking about.
thinking about. Oh.
Yes, it is. Chinua Achebe's
Oh,
Things Fall Apart.
Jesus.
Book was
Oh
published
my
in
God.
1958.
That's your number
And,
7.
like I said, I think it's the African novel that has like the most awards. I think I'll just name them. He has the Margaret Wong Memorial Prize in 1959.
Okay.
That's one of the earliest recognitions for the novel shortly after its publication. Then he has the Commonwealth Poetry Prize, that's in 1972.
Okay.
Then he has the St. Louis Literary Award in 1999.
Mm-hmm.
Then he had the Man Booker International Prize in 2007.
Wow.
Then he has like he was listed among Time Magazine's 100 best English language novels published since 1923.
Yeah. That's crazy.
So you would see that this book alone, he has both global repute and recognition.
Yeah.
And then this book is it's considered the first major African novel written in English to gain
Yes.
international acclaim.
That's true.
And then, based on worldwide readership and translation, this novel was, like, at the time, it sold over 220 million copies worldwide.
That's true.
It's been translated into more than 60 languages.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And then, so then when it comes to cultural relevance, the novel continues to influence
So with
discussions on
all these
colonialism.
accolades, why did you put it as your number 7?
Like I said, it's my choice because I do not like the
Jesus.
writing style. Or
Okay.
probably I would have to read it again,
I
yes.
think you have to read
But
it
at
again,
the
though.
time when I read it, my dad would always, in fact, if my dad hears me, if he hears me saying this thing now, he probably would get angry, you know.
Hmm.
But like I said, my choice. I probably would like to read it again and understand it in a different light, but based on my how I read it while I was in secondary school,
Yeah.
I didn't like it, honestly.
Mm.
I didn't like it. And it was just because I just needed to read Things Fall Apart, and everybody knows about Things Fall Apart. I want book that one thing I love about books are books that resonate with me. And okay, probably not like resonate with my life or something, but books that I would understand, and that would make me think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, and I do not think this book
I'm going
makes
to.
me
I
think.
want to say something controversial right now. Mm.
Yeah,
In my opinion, I feel like the joys of motherhood should have gotten all the accolades that Things Fall Apart got.
this book. Yes, oh, yes, yes. So probably it's not about. I feel writing. I am in no way. In fact, I should not be among like people that would decide what a good book should be.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
But like I had said earlier, based on my personal bias,
Yeah.
I don't like the book. I don't want to say I don't like it, but it's not my best. Okay, in fact, a testament that a book was actually good. Like I really loved my experience about a book is I'd want to read it again.
Mm.
And every book I've read and loved that much, even if I didn't finish reading it for the second time, but I just start reading it again.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. That's to show the kind of love I have. Any book that is in my top five, I probably have read it for the first. Okay, apart from one of them, I probably have read it
At
for
least
the second
twice.
time.
Mm.
Yes.
I see.
So that's
No,
my.
totally. I get where you're coming from. I have my own issues with Things Fall Apart, but I'll get to it later. But I totally get you, honestly. There's something with Things Fall Apart. It's a good book, but Jesus, I don't want to use the word boring, but let's just leave that. Let me let me let me say my number six.